What if a 13th century Persian poet held the secret to rewiring your brain against modern outrage? Neuroscience is now discovering what Sufi masters have known for centuries. The space between a trigger and your reaction is where your true power is born. We've been trained to clap back, to fight fire with fire, to meet aggression with aggression, believing this is a sign of strength. We are told that to be silent is to be weak, to turn away is to be defeated. But what if the lost art of not biting back is the secret key to unbreakable inner peace in a world designed to provoke you? This invitation is not a call to passivity or weakness. It is a journey into a different kind of power, a power that is not measured by the noise you make, but by the stillness you can hold. It is an exploration of a sacred technology of the soul, one that allows you to navigate the incessant provocations of our modern age without losing the sanctity of your own heart. Our world has become a field of hidden snares and digital teeth. In the endless scroll of social media, in the 24-hour news cycle, in the casual cruelty of a dismissive email, we are constantly being bitten. These are not the bites of a stray dog in a field, but they sink into our psyche with the same venom, causing a pain that can keep us awake at night, replaying scenarios, crafting sharper replies, nursing a deep and burning wound. Our instinct, honed by a culture of conflict and the primal wiring of our own brains, is to bite back, to meet a harsh word with a harsher one, to expose a perceived flaw with a torrent of public shame, to answer an insult with an even more cutting retort. We believe that this is justice, that this is how we reclaim our honor. But the great sages of the Sufi path saw this differently. They understood that within each of us are two fundamental natures, two contending forces. One is the Nafs, the ego self. It is our animal soul, the part of us that is territorial, reactive, and obsessed with its own survival and status. It is the part that feels the sting of the bite and screams for immediate retaliation. It is the inner dog, ever ready to snarl and snap to protect its domain. And then there's the ruh. This is the soul, the spirit, the divine breath within us. It is the ocean of consciousness beneath the turbulent waves of emotion. The ruh is not concerned with status or transactional justice. Its only concern is its own integrity, its connection to the divine, its alignment with beauty, truth, and compassion. It understands that some battles are not worth fighting, not because we might lose, but because the very act of fighting them diminishes us. It knows that to roll in the mud with an animal is to be covered in mud, regardless of who wins the struggle. This ancient tension is captured with breathtaking simplicity in a story from the great Persian master Saadi Shirazi. He tells of a man walking in a field whose leg is suddenly seized by a dog. The bite is vicious, as if, Saadi says, the dog's teeth were laced with poison. The man spends the entire night in agony, unable to sleep. His young daughter, seeing his suffering, is filled with a child's pure and simple sense of justice. She looks at her father, her voice hard with conviction, and asks a question that echoes the logic of our modern world. She says, "My dear father, didn't you have teeth? You should have bitten its leg back."
Father, in the midst of his pain, smiles. It is the smile of one who sees a deeper truth. He looks at his daughter with profound love and says, "Oh, my beautiful daughter, of course I have teeth." He tells her he certainly had the strength to bite the dog in return, but then he reveals the secret. "But my heart could not consent to my mouth touching a dog." He explains that the act itself is so ugly, so repulsive, that even if someone held a weapon to his head and threatened to kill him unless he bit the dog's leg, he simply could not do it. Saadi concludes, "A dog is vicious by nature. A true human being cannot act like a dog. This is the key. This is the lost art. The man's refusal was not born of fear or inability. It was born of a profound spiritual dignity. His heart, his innermost being, his heart could not consent to the act of self-degradation. He understood that the real poison was not in the dog's teeth, but in the temptation to lower his own human nature to the level of an animal. He chose the pain of the wound over the poison of becoming like his aggressor. Today we will walk the path of this sage. We will learn to distinguish the voice of our inner child screaming for retaliation from the quiet, dignified wisdom of the heart that refuses to be poisoned. We will explore how to create that sacred space between the digital bite and the reactive reply, and in that space to choose the path of the ruh over the path of the nafs. This is a journey to reclaim your peace in an age of outrage. It is an invitation to remember your own nature and to learn, once and for all, how not to bite back. To understand the profound wisdom of Saadi's parable, we must first diagnose the nature of the modern bite. The dog that attacks us today is not a single creature of flesh and blood, but a relentless, disembodied phantom with a million mouths. It is the algorithm, designed to feed us content that confirms our biases and inflames our opposition. It is the anonymity of the keyboard, which allows for a kind of casual cruelty that few would dare express face to face. It is the culture of the hot take, where nuanced thought is sacrificed for the immediate gratification of a provocative, often aggressive opinion. These are the teeth of the modern world, and they sink into us constantly. A comment on your photo says you look tired. A colleague takes credit for your idea in a meeting. A news headline caricatures a belief you hold dear. A stranger on the internet dismisses your entire existence with a single contemptuous word. Each of these is a bite. And just as the 13th century man felt a searing pain in his leg, we feel a searing pain in our psyche. Neuroscience can map this reaction with stunning precision. When we feel attacked or socially threatened, our amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm system, flares into action. It doesn't distinguish between a saber-toothed tiger and a condescending tweet. To the amygdala, a threat is a threat. It floods our system with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing us for battle. Our heart rate increases, our focus narrows, our capacity for rational, compassionate thought plummets. This is the amygdala hijack. It is the biological reality of the nafs seizing control. The inner dog is awake, and it is straining at the leash. The nafs, in Sufi psychology, is the seat of our instinctual drives. It is the source of our pride, our anger, our greed, and our fear. It is not inherently evil. A dog is not evil for being a dog. The nafs is a necessary part of our human vehicle. It gives us the drive to survive, to protect ourselves, to achieve. But left untamed, it becomes a tyrant. Its entire worldview is based on a simple binary code: dominance or submission, honor or shame, winning or losing. When bitten, its logic is flawless and immediate: bite back and bite harder.
This is the voice of the little girl in the story. Her perspective is pure, uncorrupted ego logic. You were harmed, you must harm in return. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. This is the logic that fuels our social media wars, our political polarization, our endless cycles of blame and retribution. The Nafs believes that its dignity can only be restored through retaliation. It whispers to us, if you let this go, you are weak. If you do not answer, they have won. Your silence is their victory. And so, We spend our precious life energy crafting the perfect reply. We lose sleep composing devastating arguments in our minds. We sacrifice our peace of mind at the altar of proving a point to someone who will likely never be convinced, someone whose own nafs is just as activated as our own. We enter the dogfight, snapping and snarling in the digital dust, and we wonder why we feel so exhausted, so hollow, so perpetually wounded. The great tragedy is that in the process of winning, we lose something infinitely more valuable, the connection to our own serene center, our ruh. The Sufi masters taught that the primary task of a human being is the refinement and purification of the self. It is the journey from the tyranny of the nafs to the loving guidance of the ruh. The provocations of the world are not seen as random misfortunes, but as essential tests, divine sandpaper designed to smooth the rough edges of our ego. Each bite is an opportunity. It is a moment of choice. Will you act like the dog, or will you remember that you are a human being? The father's response in the story is the very blueprint of the root in action. His statement, "My heart could not consent to my mouth touching a dog," is one of the most powerful teachings on spiritual integrity ever articulated. Let us break it down. He does not say, "I was too afraid," or "it would have been improper." He says his heart, his deepest essence, could not consent. This implies a sovereign kingdom within him. The ruh is the king of this inner realm, and it has the final say. The nafs may scream for war. The body may be flooded with the chemistry of rage, but the ruh has veto power. It can refuse to sign the declaration of war. This refusal is not based on a calculation of outcome. The father doesn't weigh whether biting the dog would make him feel better or teach the dog a lesson. His decision comes from a place of pure energetic and aesthetic truth. The act of biting a dog is, to his soul, objectively chirkin, ugly, foul, repulsive. It is a violation of his own inherent beauty and dignity. He understands that to engage in an ugly act is to bring that ugliness into himself. The dog has already wounded his leg. Why would he allow it to also poison his soul? This is a radical reframing of power. Our culture teaches that power is the ability to impose your will on the external world. The Sufi path teaches that true power, true sultanate, is the ability to govern your own inner world. The one who can remain calm in the face of provocation, who can choose compassion when met with hatred, who can maintain their inner equilibrium regardless of the chaos outside, this is the one who is truly powerful. Rumi speaks of this state constantly. He says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." The dog, the insult, the online comment, these are like a stone thrown into the ocean. There is a momentary splash, a few ripples, but the vast, deep, imperturbable nature of the ocean remains unchanged. The nafs identifies with the splash. The ruh knows it is the ocean. To bite back is to admit that the aggressor has power over you. It is to concede that they have the ability to dictate your emotional state and your behavior. You are allowing their low vibrational energy to become your own. You are letting them set the terms of engagement, and those terms are always on the animalistic plane. The moment you descend to that level, you have already lost, because you have abandoned your own higher ground. You have traded the expansive sky of the ruh for the cramped and bloody cage of the nafs. The father in the story chose to remain on his own ground. He accepted the physical pain from the dog, but he refused to accept the spiritual degradation of becoming a dog. This is the great alchemy. The world will constantly present you with lead, the lead of anger, jealousy, insult, and aggression. Your nafs will tell you to fight it, to throw it back. Your ruh invites you to a different possibility, to use the heat of the moment not to explode, but to transmute. Can you take this base metal of provocation and through the alchemy of consciousness, patience, and non-reaction, transform it into the gold of wisdom and inner peace?
The story's conclusion is devastatingly clear. A true human being cannot act like a dog. This is not a judgment, but a statement of spiritual physics. It is like saying water cannot be fire. The inherent nature of the human, the insan, is to be a vessel for divine qualities,
mercy, forbearance, beauty, and wisdom. To act with animalistic reactivity is to be in violation of your own essential truth. It is a form of spiritual self-harm. This brings us to the most crucial territory of our exploration, the space between. The space between the dog's teeth sinking in and the man's decision not to retaliate. The space between the insulting comment appearing on your screen and your fingers beginning to type a reply. This space may feel infinitesimally small, almost non-existent. Our reactions often feel instantaneous, automatic, beyond our control. But the entire Sufi path, the entire work of spiritual refinement, is about finding and expanding that sacred space. The Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl, in a perfect echo of this ancient wisdom, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." This space is the kingdom of the Ruh. The Nafs wants to collapse this space, to create an immediate and unbreakable chain reaction, bite, bite back, sting, sting back. The work of a spiritual seeker is to insert a moment of awareness into that chain, to create a pause. This pause is not empty, it is filled with a luminous potential. It is the moment where you get to decide who you are. The stimulus, the bite, does not define you. Your chosen response does. In that sacred pause, you can ask the questions of the Ruh instead of obeying the commands of the Nafs. The Nafs screams, "What should I do to them?" The Ruh quietly asks, "Who do I choose to be right now? What response is in alignment with the peace and dignity I wish to cultivate within myself? Will this action bring more beauty and harmony into the world, or will it just perpetuate a cycle of ugliness?" The tools for creating this space are simple, yet they require immense practice. The first tool is the breath. The moment you feel the bite, the moment you feel the heat of anger or the sting of humiliation, the first act of the warrior of the spirit is to return to the breath. Take one conscious deep breath. In that single inhalation and exhalation, you are severing the automatic circuit of the amygdala hijack. You are bringing your prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason, wisdom, and self-control, back online. You are creating a space. The second tool is remembrance, or dhikr. In that pause created by the breath, you remember your true nature. You remember the story of the man and the dog. You can even use his words as a mantra. My heart does not consent to this. You are reminding yourself that you are the ocean, not the fleeting wave of anger. You are reminding yourself that your ultimate allegiance is not to your wounded pride, but to the divine spirit that resides within you. This practice, repeated over and over, slowly rewires the brain. Each time you successfully navigate a provocation without reactive engagement, you weaken the neural pathways of the Nafs and strengthen the neural pathways of the Ruh. You are literally, physically transforming your brain from a reactive organ into a responsive one. You are reclaiming your sovereignty. You stop being a puppet whose strings are pulled by any random stranger on the internet or any passing circumstance. You become the quiet, dignified center of your own universe.
This does not mean you become a doormat. This is the great misunderstanding of the path of non-reaction. The father in the story did not invite the dog to bite his other leg. Choosing not to bite back does not mean you cannot take practical, intelligent action. You can still block the user. You can still walk away from the toxic conversation. You can establish clear boundaries. You can speak your truth calmly and firmly. But the difference is the energy behind the action. Are you acting from a place of reactive, vengeful rage, or from a place of centered, sovereign peace?
Are you trying to punish the other, or are you simply protecting your own sanctuary? The former is the way of the dog. The latter is the way of the sage. The true human being knows how to be both gentle and firm, both yielding and unbreachable, like the ocean itself. Now let us bring this ancient idea out of the realm of story and into the living reality of your own heart. For this wisdom to become your own, it must be felt, not just understood. So I invite you to join me in a moment of stillness, a practical contemplation. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if you feel safe to do so. Let the sound of my voice be a guide, but let your own inner experience be the ultimate authority. Begin by bringing your awareness to your breath. Don't try to change it, just notice it. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Feel the air as it enters your nostrils, cool and fresh, and as it leaves, warm and soft. Each breath is an anchor in this present moment. The past is a memory. The future is a dream. Only this breath, right here, right now, is real. Now, I want you to gently, without judgment, call to mind a recent bite. It doesn't have to be a major trauma. It could be something small, a dismissive comment from a loved one, a critical email from your boss, an anonymous stinging remark online. Choose one that still has some energy for you, a memory that can still make you feel that slight twinge of anger or hurt. As you hold this memory in your mind, I want you to notice what happens in your body. Don't get lost in the story of what happened. Instead, become a curious scientist of your own inner landscape. Where do you feel it? Is there a tightening in your jaw, a clenching in your fists, a heat rising in your chest or your face, a knot forming in your stomach? This physical sensation is the signature of the Nafs. It is the dog within you waking up. It is the body preparing for a fight. For a moment, just acknowledge it. Say to it silently, I see you, I feel you. I understand you are trying to protect me. Do not fight it, do not suppress it. Simply be aware of it. This is the stimulus. This is the bite. Now, with your next breath, I want you to consciously create the sacred space. Imagine your awareness is like a gentle hand, creating a single inch of distance between you, the calm, observing consciousness, and that knot of reactive energy. Breathe into that space. With every inhalation, make it a little wider. With every exhalation, let a little of the tension dissolve. You are not the anger. You are the awareness that notices the anger. You are not the hurt. You are the vast, silent space in which the feeling of hurt is appearing. Keep breathing. You are moving from being possessed by the emotion to being the host of the emotion. The emotion is a guest in the house of your being. It does not own the house. Now, in this space you have created, let us bring in the wisdom of the sage. Silently, in your own heart, repeat the Father's words. My heart does not consent to this. Feel the profound dignity in that statement. It is not a statement of weakness, but of supreme strength. My heart does not consent to poisoning itself with bitterness. My heart does not consent to spending its precious energy on retaliation. My heart does not consent to becoming like the one who hurt me. My heart does not consent to this ugliness. Feel the quiet, unshakable power in that refusal. It is the feeling of choosing your own nature over the nature of the attack. You are choosing the expansive sky over the fleeting storm cloud. You are choosing the deep ocean over the turbulent wave. Now, ask yourself from this place of calm awareness, what is the nature of the one who bit me? Are they likely operating from a place of profound peace, joy, and wisdom? Or are they too caught in the grip of their own untamed nafs, their own pain, their own fear? A happy, peaceful being does not go around biting others. Their aggression is not a statement about your worth. It is a confession of their own suffering. Seeing this does not excuse their behavior, but it can free you from taking it personally.
Finally, let the image of the person or a situation dissolve. Come back to the simple sensation of your own breath. Feel the stillness that is always available to you, right beneath the surface of your thoughts and emotions. This stillness is your true home. This is the sanctuary of the Ru. No bite, no insult, no aggression can ever truly touch this place, unless you allow it to. This is your sovereign ground. Take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly and gently, when you are ready, you can open your eyes, bringing this sense of inner peace and dignity back with a renewed perspective. This practice is the training. This is how you reclaim your power, one breath at a time. We have journeyed far, from a field in 13th century Persia to the inner workings of the human brain, from the ancient wisdom of the Sufis to the immediate, practical reality of our own hearts. We have walked with a sage who, in a moment of pain, taught us the most profound lesson about human dignity. The journey back to our daily lives must be illuminated by the clarity of his choice. The central teaching is this: your ultimate power lies not in your ability to win a fight, but in your wisdom to choose which fights are worth your spirit. The modern world is an arena that constantly invites you into low-stakes, high-cost battles. It beckons you into endless arguments, cycles of outrage, and contests of ego. The voice of the Nafs, amplified by culture and technology, screams that you must engage, that your honor is on the line. But the quiet, unwavering voice of the Ru offers a different path. It asks a simple, life-altering question. Who do you choose to be in this moment? The Nafs is perpetually concerned with the external. What will they think of me? How can I prove them wrong? How can I have the last word? It seeks validation from the outside world, and so it is always a slave to the opinions and provocations of others. The Ru, by contrast, is concerned only with the internal. Is this action aligned with my deepest truth? Does this response cultivate peace or violence within me? Am I honoring the divine spark I carry? It seeks alignment with its source, and so it remains free, sovereign, and untouchable. Saadi Shirazi's story is a timeless gift because it exposes the great illusion of reactive strength. The man who bites a dog back does not become strong. He simply proves he is capable of being an animal. He may feel a fleeting moment of satisfaction, a surge of adrenaline that feels like victory, but he has ingested a subtle poison. He has affirmed the belief that the world is a dog-eat-dog place, and he has become a participant in that very reality. The man who walks away, his leg wounded but his spirit intact, has won a far greater victory. He has affirmed that even in a world where dogs bite, he will remain a human being. He has protected the sanctity of his inner world. He has refused to let the ugliness outside of him become the ugliness inside of him. This is not submission. This is the highest form of rebellion, a rebellion against the downward pull of our own lower nature. So as you return to the relentless stream of information, opinion, and interaction that defines our lives, carry this story as a shield for your heart. When the digital bite comes, and it will, remember the choice you have. See the flash of anger, the sting of pride, and recognize it for what it is, the growl of the Nafs. And then take a breath. Create that sacred, beautiful space. In that space, remember who you truly are. You are not a dog. Your teeth were made for nourishment, not for retribution.
Your words were crafted for healing, for connection, for the articulation of beauty, not for tearing others down. Your magnificent human consciousness was given to you to perceive the divine, not to obsess over the petty squabbles of the ego. To refuse to bite back is not an act of surrender to your opponent. It is a profound act of allegiance to your own soul. It is the ultimate declaration of freedom. It is the quiet, powerful, and unshakable decision to guard the peace of your own heart above all else, and to walk through this world not as a reactor, but as a radiator of the very peace you have so carefully cultivated within. The wound may be real, but your spirit, if you so choose, can remain whole, serene, and absolutely free.